So person who's cooking also, that energy goes into the food.
Right.
So when, my customers will say, oh, it was delicious. I said, there's a special ingredient. She said, what? I said, my love and prayers.
Hi everybody, I'm Sandeep Chatrat and I'm a home chef myself, and I welcome you to We the Chef Food Talk with Sourish Bhattacharyya. We the Chefs is an aggregator for home chefs. This show is about some exciting conversations with our chefs. We will try and present a new chef to you with their story, with their history, how they started cooking, what they were doing earlier and what took them to cooking.
Welcome to yet another edition of Food Talk. I hope you've been enjoying watching us. Today we have someone who's very special. We have Preeti Ahluwalia, who's now Preeti Bhardwaj. She, your name, the name doesn't suggest anything to do with Hyderabad, but she's quite a sought after Hyderabadi home chef, And I think we'll talk a lot about how she got into the business. Unlike many home chefs, that whom we have met, who have come from areas as diverse as HR, or full-blown corporate life, you have had your fill in corporate life, but you're from hospitality, yes. And you actually went to the IHM-Pusa,
yes.
And so you can claim to be a full-blown hospitality professional.
Yes.
So now, can you tell us about your early life? Which you grew up in Delhi,
yes,
and where did you study?
I'm actually. Thank you for such a sweet introduction. And yes, I'm a pakka Delhi girl, as you say, born, brought up, yes. Married, had children, all Delhi girl.
So you're like me, you're a pakka Delhi boy.
Yes. So I did my schooling here also, and then I went to Pusa.
Which school did you go to? You may have some of your
I went
old...
So I went to modern school.
Wow.
And I did my 11th and 12th from modern school, and previous to that I was in DPS till class 8.
Oh, okay.
And for 3 years...
Didn't they tease you about DPS and modern?
They were dushmans.
Yeah, exactly.
Total rivals.
I went to DPS, so I know all about it.
Yeah, they were rivals. But I went to Calcutta. My father was also a hotelier, and he was, he was actually the founder, GM of Airport Hotel. I don't know whether you remember in Calcutta.
Yes.
And at that time, we also went there.
Right.
So I studied from DPS, from a public school. I went into a convent school for 3 years.
Right.
So when I came back, we just got into modern school, and so 11th and 12th was in modern school,
right.
And then I went to Pusa. Both my parents were hoteliers.
That's interesting. You're a second generation hotelier, and you worked at the Ashok, as you were telling me. And you worked with some very, well-known hoteliers. You've seen and worked with, or worked under Mr. K.B. Kachu, Kulbhushan Kachu, is a doyen of hospitality.
I have lot of respect for that. Mr. Kachu, he's such a fine gentleman. Yeah.
And you've also worked with Manjula Arun and Arun George, her husband.
Yes.
I'm going to share our reel with her. She'll be most excited.
I don't know whether she would remember me, but she would definitely remember my parents.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then of course Mr. Puneet Chatwal, who's now the CEO and MD.
He makes all of us so proud.
He's the CEO and MD of Taj.
Yes.
And you said you also worked with TajSATS, the airline catering service.
So that was just a very brief stint between 2020 to 2022. And I actually was engaged, so at that point of time when the airline business was very also impacted at that point of time. So TajSATS also, came up with this, vertical of setting up these, QSR kind of under the name of Anuka Cafe, and they wanted to set up in residential condos.
Right.
And since I had the experience of running a commissary facility in a residential community in Gurgaon, and that's how I kind of got engaged with them. And through my network, we I connected to them to a lot of residential as well as corporates. And so they opened their first cafe in Tata Primanti.
Oh, okay, right.
And then they were about to open in Palms also. And
Right.
then we, of course, and the whole thing was shelved.
Right.
Because it was not, Taj is
It's
like
not
such
the
a
expiry area.
It was not and it's all about, your P&L and how much,
Right.
whether it's commercially viable.
Right.
And then they have their SOPs, and then, you have to have X number of, staff over there, and, shifts and all that. So it didn't work.
So, you have brought a lot of this learning into your home chef business, but we'll come to that a little later because, as you can see, our conversation will go back and forth,
Yeah.
From IHM-Pusa, you went to Ashok, and there you were in sales and marketing. Far from cooking,
No, completely.
far from Hyderabadi cuisine.
Completely. And then, in between, in 86, I didn't tell you about this, 86 and 87 for 1 year, I moved to the US.
Right.
With my husband at that time. That time there was this bukhar of US.
Right.
A lot of people just went to the US at that time. And so my husband had that bukhar, so I went along with them. And thanks to my background, that I got a job immediately in this restaurant called Akbar.
Right.
And that was
Which city was it?
New York.
Ah,
On Park Avenue.
Park Avenue, yes.
Malhotra's.
Very famous. I was about to, the Malhotra's have revived that restaurant.
Is it?
I was in, of course, not the new generation must be, and they've expanded. Their business is very big,
Wow.
In fact, there's a Delhi chef who works with them.
Oh, really?
And I forget I think they've revived it as Akbar only on Park Avenue. Because when I was in New York last year, everyone was very excitedly talking about Akbar reopening.
Oh my God! So it's so good to hear. So I was hired as a hostess there,
Okay.
and then they transferred because I was living in Long Island, and they had a branch in Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So I was
Right.
transferred over there.
Right.
So, but we had to move back because my husband's family wanted him back.
Right.
So that was the end of it. And Malhotra's was at that time getting a green card and getting sponsorship was not
Very difficult, yeah.
No, it was easy.
Right.
So they wanted to kind of sponsor me, but then I came back, and that was the end of my hospitality for a
Okay.
long time.
And then you were doing other things.
Other small
and-
things, yeah. I set up lots of businesses. Then I had my children, and then you got busy with the family.
So you're a mother of 3 children, yet you found time, I guess as the children grew up, to open your own kitchen.
They were grown up by that time. And then 2016, I set up this kitchen under the name Minnie's Kitchen because I'm fondly called Minnie by a lot of my friends and family.
So MINIZ, you said.
Z.
Yeah.
So then this kitchen, I expanded a bit, and then I opened a cloud kitchen in 2019.
Right.
And 20, I had to shut because COVID, my kitchen took a big hit over there. But again, God has plans for everyone. And I was actually pretty disillusioned by that time. And I said, no, this is it. I don't want to do this anymore. Now I'll do something else. But, so at that point of time, my children who were grown up, my older 2 kids, they really encouraged me. And they said, Mom, you keep shifting your businesses. Sometimes you set up this jewelry thing. Then I had this fitness studio. Then, you did this. And then you did this. And now you at least, just hang in there for some time and don't kind of give up. And that's how, friends and neighbors encouraged me.
And you said a book given to you
by my neighbor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to share this with my. I call her my guardian angel.
Right.
So Nargish Mistry, she was my neighbor, and very, very, very nice couple. And her husband is no more. And she kind of encouraged me, and then she said, "No, you need to, you can't stop." And actually, I started with handcrafted pizzas, and because I had this oven. And then, I just kind of transitioned into, which I still do actually, only on weekends. And then she gifted me this very nice book. I'm forgetting the name, but it was, the recipes of khansamas of the Nizam.
Wow.
So I wanted to, get into that. And then I started kind of going through, and there's so much online available. So then, mila jula kar, idhar udhar ki recipes mila kar, and then I started experimenting. And then, with my helper, chef, and then both of us would just, and my kids are my guinea pigs. And that's how the shikampuri kebabs of my kitchen, that's how they started.
And we are going to have the shikampuri kebabs,
Yes.
so I'm really looking forward to that. And shikampuri kebabs are very unique to Hyderabad. People say, "ये तो शामी kebab भी नहीं है, ये क्या है?"
Galauti भी नहीं है.
Galauti भी नहीं है.
Yeah.
It's like shami kebab with the stomach, which is what shikam means actually, and the stomach has hunkered.
Yes.
So I'll come back to all this, but it brings me to We the Chefs. How did you get associated with We the Chefs? And
so this is We the Chefs. So as I told you that Sourish, everything is like it's designed by the divine. People come in somewhere from the somewhere, and then again this I again my lot of gratitude to this another home chef over here, Sherwani. I met her. She's also an artist.
Right.
So my youngest son actually was having who's special needs. I told you that who's still recovering from a very serious injury that had taken place some years back. So he had taken on to art, and his pieces were being exhibited in an art show. And Sherwani is also an artist. So we just got down to chatting, and we just hit along. And then she said, I said, I don't promote myself. It's only by word of mouth. I'm not on Insta or on Facebook. And it's a fact, I've never promoted myself. So I said, it's only by word of mouth. And then she talked about, We the Chef and Vishal and, Sandeep and their whole team. And that's how I connected to them.
So since when have you been with We the Chefs?
Very recently. Very recently.
Great, excellent. I think a good.
And so when I started this, I have to add this. When I started this Hyderabadi, there was a gap. So when you order in, or you go on Zomato or on Swiggy, there are not many authentic You will get like Dana Choga type of lots of places, but you will not get shikampuri kebabs everywhere. You will not get Haleem in many places. Or you will not even get you will get Awadhi and Lucknowi korma, but Hyderabadi korma and the Lucknowi flavors are different. So there's typical dishes that you won't get. So even Mughlai koftas, the kofta of Hyderabad is very different than the koftas up in the north. So then I said, there is a gap there. And then I could make these shikampuri kebabs in my kitchen because I did not need a tandoor. So what I did was that the resources that I had and the capacity that I had and the bandwidth that I had, around that, I said, Hyderabadi will fit in here. Plus, there's a gap.
So, it was completely organic growth. I mean, you didn't plan to become a home chef, but you're now a home chef and very much in it now.
Never planned anything in my life. So, everything in my life has just happened very organic.
It's planned by the divine hand.
I call it divine plan, everything.
Great. So, quickly coming down to, before we wind down, coming to Hyderabadi food, if you were to define how Hyderabadi food is different from Awadhi, how, of course, there's the old debate about the biryani, but how's Hyderabadi food different?
I would say, you must be aware of it since you're a food blogger, that in no tomatoes are used.
Right.
No tomato. The only tomato that is used in what we have on our menu is we call it tomato ka cut. It's like a tomato ki chutney. It's delicious. So I'll make you taste next time. So that is the only tomato that is used. Or in a cucumber salad. So there are no tomatoes used. There is a very strong, most of the dishes have yogurt in it. And it's got, the flavors are very sharp.
Because of the local chilies, I guess.
Yes. But so again, I don't use those spices because of the palate of the North Indians.
What we tend to forget is Hyderabad is in Telangana. Formerly, of course, it was the capital of Andhra Pradesh. But this region is famous for its chili hot food, and of course the Guntur chili, which is supposed to be the hottest. I mean, not like as hot as Bhut Jolokia, but almost in that category.
Yes.
So you have toned down the.
So I don't use that.
Pungency,
So I use a kuti mesh. So because you need to kind of say if you are having, for example, a butter chicken in one of the Western countries, you would need to tone down on the marinations or on the spice levels. So when I started off, actually my spice levels were on a sharper side. So I used to get this feedback because I have this. I take feedback from every customer every time.
I think that's a marketing background, which is
must be every time. Every time. So today, like whatever is gone on the menu, I would send a message later in the evening, to take a feedback. And I really incorporate that feedback. So this was there, the sharpness. It was too spicy. That's what people said. So this is, I feel, the main. See, the Awadhi food. It's sweeter, the aroma.
But Awadhi food, they also use a lot of nuts. Do you also do that in Hyderabadi?
Very little, except in my dishes. So I've tweaked a lot of recipes because it's not that I just follow one recipe. So we use a cashew paste in our dum ke kebab. We use a bit in Haleem. We use in our korma cashew paste. Okay, but we do not use our food. Hyderabadi's food is not very rich with nuts. So there's a lot of yogurt in it and very, very strong spices.
I think Hyderabadi food is defined by its spiciness, and I think how's the biryani different? I asked this to people, and there seems to be as many answers as there are people cooking the biryani. How do you cook the biryani, the Hyderabadi biryani?
Hyderabadi, I mean, if you see, it's the procedure basically is the same, right? But it's, as I told you, it's the playing around with the spice levels. That's the main difference. And
but this is
I don't use any.
No,
this is not kache gosht ki biryani. This is not kache gosht ki biryani. I mean, today I haven't got it. But I do not make kache gosht ki biryani. I make the pakke gosht ki biryani. And we use a lot of saffron. So that is another difference. So we don't use any color on the rice.
But use saffron.
Saffron for the color. And so personally, because I don't like it. So there are a lot of things I also need to like. As when you're selling food, you also need to like the taste.
And you're more aware of the local palate.
I don't like to garnish my non-veg biryanis with boiled eggs. So I don't do that. So in Hyderabad also some of them do. In Lucknow, in Calcutta biryani,
you have to have the egg and the aloo are very important.
And so I haven't, I wish I could get this for tasting. But we, of course, with biryani, the best is a salan, or we also do very interesting raitas.
Burhani raita is...
Burhani raita is just basically with garlic. But this is, we do palak raita, which is like palak pachadi, if you know.
Pachadi, of course.
So we do palak raita.
So that's the Andhra influence,
Yes. And it has got that South Indian tempering. Okay, similarly we do a bangan ka raita. Okay, the bada bangan, the khatte wala bangan. Then we have
it at home. In fact, there is a bangan raita waiting for me at home. So that's my dinner.
I love it. I love having bangan ka raita with plain steamed rice. And then we do a Hyderabadi khatti dal, which is not like your UP dal, which is not made with arar. It's not a tur dal. It's made with masoor dal. And again, it's got that South Indian flavor. So there are two ways.
So it's closer to the tomato pappu thing,
It's more like a pureed dal with tempering again of curry leaves and that rye. But I don't puree it.
Okay.
So so I cook the dal on slow heat, but I don't puree it. So because then it becomes like a rasam. So it becomes like a thick rasam. So this is again, these are again personal tastes, and you tweak, and you also have your own energy and own element. And then another thing that I need to add is, that whenever I cook, I put on music.
Okay. Any particular music you
I
like?
love Sufi music.
Okay.
So, I also play music as per the food I'm cooking. Okay. So, if I'm cooking my Hyderabadi food, then there'll be the Sufi music going on. And then they'll always be, it's always because I do believe that there's energy the energy is in the food also. So person who's cooking also, that energy goes into the food.
Right.
So when, my customers will say, oh, it was delicious. I said, there's a special ingredient. Said, what? I said, my love and prayers.
I think that is what matters the most in cooking,
Yeah, because it's always that prayer that whoever eats and then, is also, relishes what is going out from my hands and from my kitchen.
Fantastic. So Preeti, one could talk forever about Hyderabadi food. It's an area which is less discussed and
I think it's also some of these are I feel are fading away. Somewhere why I don't know that why Hyderabadi is actually not very. See, Haleem is an acquired taste. So not out of I would say 100% if non-vegetarians if you keep, there will only be 30% or 40% who will go in for Haleem.
Haleem is such a invigorating, healthy dish,
It's a very healthy dish. It's got lentils, it's got dalia, it's got, it's so healthy.
It's a full meal in a bowl, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Preeti, thank you so much for...
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Enlightening us so much about your life and Hyderabadi food. I hope you keep, supporting We the Chefs and spread the word about this lovely organization. And I hope to have your food now, I think that is...
Thank you
I'm
so
looking
much.
forward to that. I cut down on my lunch because I was told that your kebabs are coming.
I've got Haleem for you. I've got mutton shikampuri. By the way, so there are no chicken kebabs in Hyderabadi cuisine. So this I've tweaked and brought in chicken because there is a myth that mutton is not good. So I completely disagree.
Yeah.
So I feel mutton is a leaner meat than chicken. It's got less actually saturated fat. It's got more iron. It's got more protein also.
Right.
So I would say the Indian mutton. And so...
and also Indian mutton is lean meat because
lean
of the
meat,
way
but in fact the chicken, the broiler chicken is always, they pump in with
all sorts of things.
Also,
which we don't want to mention.
So but it's not lean meat as this. So for the people who feel that red meat is like not good for health, so I tweak this and we made these chicken shikampuri kebabs also, which are also equally popular. But my personal favorite is mutton shikampuri.
Anything. I'm a
I mean, you do
mutton
also
person.
have veg shikampuri, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I won't go in that direction. Thank you so
they're
much.
also very popular. You have to look after the vegetarians.
Naturally.
Because Hyderabadi food is actually, sorry to say, is, vegetarians it's really limited. You just have a dal and a bagare bangan, and then we have we've just put in this one paneer dish because, there's only veg, or mirchi ka salan. And there's a veg biryani, which I personally don't like, so I prefer this kubli biryani or veg shikampuri kebab. That's it, actually.
In fact, talking about kebabs, the other day, our friend Sandeep Chatrat, who's one of the key members of We the Chefs, he made a shikampuri kebab in a sense with edamame and ricotta cheese. So talk about a
Oh my God!
Yeah.
So he put that was the filling.
Cheese was
that was
the
the filling.
Instead
of the paneer.
Yeah, or the hankad.
Or the hankad. Yeah.
So amazing stuff. That's why I love coming to the We the Chefs Experience Center.
Oh my God,
the
that's
food
so
is
interesting.
fantastic here. Okay.
I have to taste that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much again.
And hope to have more such conversations later.
Thank you.
Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon to motivate us to bring you many more such shows. Thank you so much.